Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. If you're looking for the best scares to stream this month, you're in the right place. Today, we're counting down the top 8 best horror movies streaming on Shudder this April 2025. From chilling releases to cult classics that still haunt us, there's something here for every kind of horror lover. So grab your popcorn, turn off the lights, and let's dive into the terrifying lineup Shudder has in store. Number 8. A Dark Song. A Dark Song is a 2016 independent psychological horror film written and directed by Liam Gavin. Set almost entirely in an isolated house in the Welsh countryside, the film follows a woman named Sophia Howard, Catherine Walker, who is consumed by grief after the tragic death of her young son. Desperate to make contact with him, she hires Joseph Solomon, Steve Oram, a reclusive and intense occultist, to help her perform an ancient and demanding magical ritual known as the Abramelin. The ritual, rooted in real occult practices, is said to summon one's guardian angel, who can then grant the summoner a single request. Unlike typical horror films that rely on quick scares, A Dark Song builds its tension slowly and methodically. The story unfolds over weeks of isolation as Sophia and Joseph seal themselves inside the house and undergo a series of physically and emotionally punishing trials. The ritual requires strict discipline, fasting, purification, and spiritual preparation. As time passes, the line between reality and the supernatural begins to blur, and both characters are forced to confront their deepest traumas, flaws, and secrets. The dynamic between the two leads is fraught with mistrust, emotional volatility, and occasional glimpses of vulnerability, adding to the film's claustrophobic intensity. Critically, A Dark Song received widespread acclaim for its originality, atmosphere, and emotional depth. Rotten Tomatoes holds the film at a 90% approval rating, with critics praising its slow-burn structure and powerful performances, especially Catherine Walker's haunting portrayal of a mother willing to sacrifice everything for closure. Metacritic gives it a score of 71, indicating generally favorable reviews. Reviewers have highlighted its unique tone, the tension between the characters, and its commitment to thematic substance over conventional horror tropes. For viewers seeking intelligent, character-driven horror that blends the supernatural with profound emotional stakes, A Dark Song offers a deeply compelling and unforgettable experience. Number 7. Baskin. Baskin is a Turkish horror film directed by Can Evernol, based on his 2013 short film of the same name. It follows 5 police officers who respond to a distress call in a remote area and end up discovering an abandoned building that turns out to be a gateway into a horrifying, otherworldly realm. The film begins with a sense of unease as the characters experience strange visions and disturbing signs on their way to the location. Once they arrive, the atmosphere becomes increasingly surreal and nightmarish. They eventually come face to face with a mysterious cult led by a terrifying figure known only as the Father. As the characters descend deeper into the building, they are subjected to a series of brutal, hallucinatory, and gruesome events that challenge their perceptions of reality and morality. Baskin is known for its graphic imagery, dreamlike structure, and psychological intensity. Rather than following a traditional narrative arc, it immerses the viewer in a nightmarish descent that feels like a waking dream or a trip through hell. The film draws on elements of Turkish folklore and religious symbolism, giving it a distinct cultural texture. Critically, Baskin received praise for its originality and bold visual style. It has been described as a blend of Clive Barker-esque body horror with the surreal horror of directors like David Lynch or Lucio Fulci. In short, Baskin is a disturbing, atmospheric horror film that takes viewers on a visually stunning but deeply unsettling journey into the heart of darkness. It's a bold piece of Turkish horror cinema that leaves a lasting impression. Number 6. The Canal. The Canal is an Irish psychological horror film written and directed by Ivan Kavanagh. The story centers on David, played by Rupert Evans, a film archivist who becomes increasingly paranoid after discovering disturbing footage about his home's violent past. At the same time, he begins to suspect that his wife, Alice, is having an affair. These two threads, emotional betrayal and historical horror, intertwine and begin to unravel David's grip on reality. When David uncovers 100-year-old film reels documenting a grisly murder that took place in his house, he begins to experience terrifying visions and unexplainable phenomena. The Canal builds its horror slowly and atmospherically. Rather than relying on jump scares, it uses eerie cinematography, unsettling sound design, and a grim tone to create a sense of unease. The film's exploration of grief, madness, and guilt adds emotional depth to the scares, making it more than a traditional ghost story. Critically, the film received generally favorable reviews. Rotten Tomatoes reports a 74% approval rating. The Guardian praised it as a smart, slow-burn creep-out, while Paste magazine called it an underseen Irish horror flick that blends a grisly crime story with psychological tension. In short, The Canal is a haunting, emotionally driven horror film that combines ghostly dread with a descent into psychological instability. It's a chilling and thought-provoking entry in modern horror, perfect for fans of slow-burn suspense and atmospheric terror. Number 5. The Houses October Built. The Houses October Built, 2014, is a found-footage horror film directed by Bobby Rowe. The story follows 5 friends, Zach, Bobby, Brandy, Mikey, and Jeff, who travel across the U.S. in an RV, searching for the most extreme haunted house experiences. As they dive deeper into the world of underground haunts, they encounter a mysterious group known as the Blue Skeleton, which turns their fun road trip into a terrifying ordeal. The film uniquely blends real haunted house attractions with fictional horror elements, lending it a chilling sense of realism. The use of actual footage from real Halloween haunts adds an authentic and immersive layer to the story. Critical reception was mixed. On Rotten Tomatoes, the film holds a 50% rating. Some reviewers praised its concept and eerie atmosphere. Nightmarish Conjurings called it very creepy and unsettling, while others appreciated its raw approach to horror tourism. However, some critics felt the execution was lacking and that the found footage style didn't always deliver consistent scares. In summary, The Houses October Built is a creepy, atmospheric film that offers a unique spin on the haunted house subgenre, especially appealing to fans of immersive horror experiences and found footage storytelling. Number 4. The Cleansing Hour. The Cleansing Hour is a supernatural horror film directed by Damien Levesque. The story follows childhood friends Max, Ryan Guzman, and Drew Kyle Gallner, who run a popular online show called The Cleansing Hour. In each episode, Max plays a priest performing live-streamed exorcisms, all of which are staged for entertainment and profit. However, things spiral out of control when their latest guest, Lane, Alex Angelis, who is also Drew's fiancée, becomes genuinely possessed during a live broadcast. As the demonic possession unfolds in real time, the friends must confront their darkest secrets while fighting to survive. The demon forces them to confess past sins, exposing the consequences of their deception to an audience of millions. Critics have praised the film's modern twist on classic possession horror, blending traditional demonic themes with commentary on social media, viral fame, and digital morality. On Rotten Tomatoes, it holds a 74% approval rating, with reviewers noting its entertaining scares and timely message about the dangers of chasing online attention. In short, The Cleansing Hour is a tense and cleverly updated take on exorcism horror, combining supernatural terror with a smart critique of influencer culture and the dark side of digital spectacle. Number 3. Pywacket. Pywacket is a Canadian psychological horror film directed by Adam McDonald. The story follows Leah, Nicole Munoz, a teenager grieving the loss of her father and struggling with her strained relationship with her mother, Laurie Holden. In a moment of anger and emotional turmoil, Leah performs a dark ritual to summon an entity known as Pywacket to harm her mother, only to immediately regret her decision when supernatural events begin to spiral out of control. As the presence she's called upon grows more powerful and terrifying, Leah becomes desperate to undo what she's done. The film explores themes of grief, teenage rebellion, and the dangers of delving into the occult with a slow-burning intensity that builds to a chilling climax. Critics praised the film's atmosphere and emotional depth. On Rotten Tomatoes, Pywacket holds an 83% approval rating. Many reviews highlighted its focus on psychological tension rather than jump scares, and its haunting portrayal of a mother-daughter relationship unraveling under supernatural stress. Pywacket is a dark and emotionally resonant horror film that blends occult themes with real-world grief and adolescent angst, offering a moody and unsettling experience. Number 2. Possum. Possum is a British psychological horror film written and directed by Matthew Holness. The story centers on Philip, Sean Harris, a disturbed former puppeteer who returns to his bleak childhood home in rural Norfolk. Haunted by memories of trauma and abuse, Philip is tormented by a grotesque puppet named Possum, a disturbing creature with a human face and spider-like limbs that seems to follow him everywhere. As he tries again and again to destroy the puppet and escape his past, Philip is forced to confront his dark memories and the presence of his sinister uncle Maurice, Alan Armstrong. The film unfolds with a minimal, surreal style, blending visual horror with a deep sense of psychological dread. Critics praise the film's chilling atmosphere, haunting imagery, and Sean Harris's intense performance. On Rotten Tomatoes, Possum holds a 92% approval rating. Many reviews noted its unique approach to horror, relying more on mood and metaphor than traditional scares. However, its slow pacing and ambiguity may not be for everyone. In short, Possum is a haunting and deeply unsettling exploration of repressed trauma and mental decay. It's a stark and atmospheric horror film that lingers long after the credits roll. Number 1. The Queen of Black Magic. The Queen of Black Magic is a 2019 Indonesian supernatural horror film directed by Kimo Stambol and written by Joko Anwar. It is a modern reimagining of the 1981 cult classic of the same name, blending terrifying folklore with themes of childhood trauma, guilt, and buried secrets. The story centers around Hanif, Aryo Bayu, who returns to the rural orphanage where he was raised to visit his dying caretaker, Pak Bandi. Hanif brings along his wife Nadia, Hannah al-Rashid, and their children. They reunite at the orphanage with his old friends Anton, Tante Ginting, and Jeffrey, Miller Khan, each arriving with their own families. At first, their visit is meant to be respectful and nostalgic, but it quickly turns ominous as strange and horrifying events begin to unfold. The group soon finds themselves trapped in the orphanage, haunted by grotesque visions, violent supernatural attacks, and a powerful black magic presence. As they fight to survive, they must confront disturbing secrets about their past and the horrifying truth about what really happened at the orphanage years ago. What begins as a reunion becomes a gruesome reckoning, and no one is safe from the curse they've awakened. The film is heavily steeped in Indonesian folklore, particularly surrounding the idea of vengeance from beyond the grave and the dark power of ilmu hitam, black magic. The scares are intense and physical, often involving body horror, insects, and psychological torment. Director Kimo Stambol builds a slow-burning sense of dread that explodes into visceral horror as the mystery unravels. Critically, The Queen of Black Magic has been praised for its smart direction, gruesome visuals, and emotional storytelling. On Rotten Tomatoes, it holds a strong 91% approval rating. Reviewers have called it a hell of a ride, comparing its brutality and atmosphere to horror classics like Evil Dead. The film has also been recognized for handling heavy themes like child abuse and institutional neglect with grim seriousness, making the horror feel both supernatural and tragically real. In short, The Queen of Black Magic is a deeply disturbing yet highly effective horror film that combines cultural mythology with modern filmmaking. It delivers intense scares while exploring dark emotional territory, making it a standout in Southeast Asian horror cinema. Fans of visceral, story-driven horror will find this both haunting and unforgettable. Well, this is it. Share your impressions in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe to never miss a good movie again.